morning! I hope you guys are having a great day. Some people had asked me about the antique paper that I used for the Harry Potter video. So what I wanted to do was go ahead and show you guys how I antiqued that paper. It's really easy. You guys can do it at home. And it's also pretty quick, so it shouldn't take you any time at all. So that means this video won't be too long. Bye! First thing you gotta do is decide what kind of project you're working on, whether you want to print an antique letter or labels for your potion collection or whatever it is you might need antique paper for. So the first thing I do is once I have my idea, I go ahead and create that on the computer. It's really just something that I make in like the Paint program or a WordPad or something like that, and then print it out of my printer and begin the antiquing process. So I already went ahead and made the antique paper for the Harry Potter video. If you guys didn't see that, I'll put a link for it. I also made a label for my mummified bat. If you guys saw that tutorial, I antiqued a label for that guy too that I put in the display box. But right now what I need to do is I need to focus on making some labels for a potion collection for somebody I know who's going to be having a potion collection. So I'm going ahead and making some labels, so come with me and I'll show you how we do it. Now it works really great if you do all your labels at once, so I went ahead and created 4 labels that I'm going to go ahead and use today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit print and get my paper. So here's my labels that I'm going to be doing, all 4 of them. And I'm gonna leave them all on the same sheet of paper until they are done antiquing, and then I will cut them apart. So the first thing that I want to do is go ahead and make a pot of coffee. And once your coffee is done brewing, now you need a flat pan. You guys who watch my channel know I like flat pans. They keep my desk pretty. What we're gonna do is we are going to pour some coffee into the flat pan, and then I'll show you how to put your paper in it. Now you don't have to flood the thing, but definitely get enough coffee in there that the water will cover the piece of paper. About like that. Now for the Harry Potter video, I wanted the paper to look a little bit like it had been in the ocean a little bit. I kind of did a little gag on pirates being involved. So the Hogwarts paper is, well, you can see it's a little bluish and it's got a lot of, well, looks like sea salt and things like that, but it's also got a bit of mold on the back right there if you can see it. And otherwise just looks like a really old piece of paper. For my labels, I don't want them to look super old, a little bit handled, a little bit used, like people have been using the jars that they're labeling. So we're gonna do a really basic job. What we're gonna do is we're gonna lay the sheet of paper in there, but we're gonna make sure that we coat the front and the back, and then we're gonna let it soak for like 5 minutes. Set a timer for 5 minutes.
Setting. Okay, 5 minutes and counting.
And of course, while your paper is soaking, feel free to sit back and have a cup of coffee. Hot. And when your 5 minutes are up, what we're going to do is we're going to take our flat pan and we're going to leave the paper in it, but we're going to drain off the coffee. And now that the coffee's dumped off of it, we've got a couple of additional steps that you don't have to take, but you can. And I'll tell you why or why not you may want to do these. First one is you can let it air dry if you want to. I prefer to put mine in the oven for a couple minutes just to speed things up, make the paper a little more crisp. And the other thing is, if you want, you can start putting your mold spots on at this point. But either way you choose to go, at this point what we want to do is we want to crumple the paper a little bit just to give it a little bit more of the antique-y look. So very carefully, because it's super tender paper, give it a little bit of a crumple up. And then again, just as carefully, unfold it and lay it out as flat as you can. Stretch it tight as you can without ripping it, because you'll notice there's going to be some white bubbles in it, and those will show up pretty big time in your final product if you don't get rid of those now. And then for the molding process, what you want to do is put a little bit of coffee grounds in your hand and just kind of rub them around a little bit so they get super fine, and kind of sprinkle it over the paper, and those will leave like a black residue spot on the paper once it's dry. So what we're gonna do for drying it out is I'm gonna put it in the oven. I don't wanna really bake it, so I'm gonna put my oven on the lowest temperature. Mine just happens to be 170 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm gonna put it in there for between 5 and 10 minutes, but around the 5-minute mark, make sure you check on it and make sure that it's doing okay. If it's dry, then pull it out. If not, you can leave it in for a little bit longer. But at that point, it should be dry enough to begin working with. So let's get it in the oven and see what happens. So I got my paper out of the oven. It ended up taking about 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Here's what it looks like. And I think it turned out pretty good for what I'm gonna use it for. So the paper's dry, I can do whatever I want with it now. At this point, I'm gonna cut out my labels and start pasting them onto my jars, and I'll show you what everything looks like when it's done. So there you go. There is your antique paper making tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you're able to use the information that I gave you and make your own projects. I will see you guys next time. Until then, have a great day, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you!